All right, hello everyone. This is Corey Doggs of Action Coach, and I'm excited to have John Walczyk from Webfitters out of Green Bay, Wisconsin with me today. John brings over 24 years of experience as the owner and manager of Webfitters, an internet development company he founded. Before Webfitters, John gained valuable insights from working in diverse fields such as restaurants, sales, and the funeral industry. This broad background has given him a unique perspective. At Webfitters, they specialize in crafting distinctive websites and customized applications that align seamlessly with your business operations. Their goal is to effectively showcase your business in the digital realm, ensuring clarity and impact. Something unique about John: he quit his well-paying, secure job to start Webfitters with 3 small children, little money, and no plan B. In his downtime, he likes to be active. He mountain bikes, he hikes, he plays pickleball and frisbee golf, but he also likes to hang out on the boat at the cottage, just drifting in the sun, preferably with his wife and kids. Some of the things he's most proud of is that his business has lasted over 20 years and only 5% due. He's proud of the gross income Webfitters makes, less than 3%, do it at his level. And of course, he's proud of his family, the people his daughters have become, and the relationships he's lucky enough to have. So it's my pleasure to welcome John of Webfitters to the show today. Hi, John.
Hey, Corey. Thanks for having me.
All right. So first question I want to ask you, tell us a bit about your personal story. Like, where were you born? Where did you grow up? That kind of thing. A little background.
Sure. I was born near Madison. I was adopted when I was 2 years old by my parents that live in Green Bay. So I was born and raised in Green Bay. I come from a long line of entrepreneurs. My dad was working for another funeral home and didn't get the pay raise he wants. So he quit and opened up a funeral home 3 blocks down the road and put him out of business, which is pretty cool. I did the usual things, grade school, high school. I went to electronic engineering school in Madison. I was very young when I graduated high school. I was only 17. Therefore, didn't do well my first go around in college. I made it a year, but that was it.
Mm-hmm.
So then I came back. I worked a whole bunch of odd jobs. I worked 3 or 4 at a time. I quit for a couple weeks, and then I go play for a couple weeks, and then I go back to work. I find 3, 4. They're all minimum wage jobs. I could find them. They're dime a dozen at that time. My longest stint in that period was I was selling timeshare campgrounds. I sold those up in Door County, Wisconsin. I sold those in mid part of the state, and also in Chattahoochee, Florida. I sold those. So 2 years of my life was selling those. Then I came back, went to school for mortuary school. I had a 1-year-old daughter at the time, so I was going to school full time, and I was working 3 other jobs. I was working at the funeral home, I was bartending, and I was also a limo driver. So I got through that. I went down to Chicago to finish up my mortuary school. And then I came back. I worked in the funeral industry for 10 years. I realized that it's no way to raise a family. It's a great job. It's tough to work with family, and it's a poor way to raise a family in that profession. You're always gone. For example, I would work 11 days on. Of those 11 days on, I'd be off, or I'd be on call overnight, 5 or 6 nights. So I work 24 hours, and then I have to get up, still run my funerals the next day. And they were a fairly busy funeral home, so I was always going. And then you get home from that, and then you try to be dad, you try to be a loving husband, it's no way to live. You miss birthdays, you miss all the activities. So I grew up with graphic designers. I mentioned them later on, the Dice brothers. They were all graphic designers. And Bob Dice started giving me side work, developing websites. He goes, "Can you do this?" And I'm like, "I don't know. I think so." So I taught myself how to program at night after I was done working at the funeral home. And I learned how to code. I learned how to build things that IT departments didn't want to do. Back then, IT departments wanted everything square and functional.
This is 20 years ago, right?
Yeah, this is 1996 when I started. So they didn't build round shapes and colors and anything pretty and nice fonts and any of that. So I figured out how to a way to do that just by cutting things up in chunks. Is pretty rudimentary, but I got it done. And I started putting together some websites for some pretty large companies. And from there, I got a little busier. There wasn't enough to make a living, but it's enough for me to see the light. I'm thinking, this is my way out. So I made a very poor decision. I gave my family 6 months notice that I was leaving the funeral home.
Mhm.
I should have only given them 1 month because those 5 months were pretty rough.
Mhm.
But then Bob's brother Bill had a nice growing business, and he had an office right next door to his that was open. So all his clients would have to walk past me when they go see him. So I moved in with next door to Bill, same building, as just separated offices. And I slowly started gaining some work. And one of my favorite clients, Wisconsin Log Homes, was one of my first big clients. And they're still my client today. I built them 5 websites. I've
Wow.
mass emails. We do all that. So that's the abridged version of my story.
Okay.
I was fortunate to do a lot of things. In between there, I went down to Florida for spring break that many do, but I stayed. I didn't come home for a year and a half. I said, this is nice down here. So I lived in Orlando for a year and a half and worked down there. So I was very fortunate to do a lot of different things.
All right. Awesome. What's a funny story your family tells about you that you'd be willing to share?
I really can't think of any. I do many silly things, as we all do. And I do many somewhat stupid things when I'm with my family.
You like to embarrass your daughters?
Yes. We have a quote board on our fridge of all the quotes over the years, all the kids and everything we say. And that's what comes to mind. Like one of my silliest things I said on the quote board, I don't remember my date of death on my birth certificate. But trying to think of an actual story of things that we've done, I've done many, and I'm sure
too many to count. Huh?
Yeah, but I can't think of a specific one offhand. I'm fortunate to have we hang out, we joke around all the time.
All right, good. Well, great entrepreneurial story. At what point did you have the confidence that you could run your own business?
I don't believe I ever had that. I don't think you ever do, because I think if you think that you got this, you don't. The moment you think you have it figured out and everything's going to be great, you get comfortable, that's the time that you get beaten down. So I never knew it. I knew I had to do it. I know I could do it. I know I can usually figure it out. But I never thought I would do what I'm doing now. I never thought, I think I shared this story with you a while back. When I switched, I was just going to be a solo worker. I was just going to work for myself. I worked for anyone. I never dreamed of having employees and staff and all the wonderful things that come with growth. I never envisioned that. It's just things happen. When we're doing sales, you don't have time for development. When you're doing management, you don't have time for development. So then you got to get people to do other things. So in a different way of phrasing it, I knew I could do it, but I'm never quite sure.
How big is your team now?
We usually go between 9 and 15. Right now I'm at 9. I'm hiring 2 more. So we ebb and flow as a market or as people come and go, but usually I'm right around there all the time. I have been right around there for, last 12, 15 years, something like that, 12 years for sure.
So tell us more about Webfitters. What do you do and what makes you different than the competition?
Well, what we do is we say yes. I'm fortunate enough to have the talent to do things from scratch. So instead of putting you in a prepackaged solution, whether it be a basic website or a complex integrated solution that communicates with ERPs and CRMs and all this stuff, we build it around you. we don't put you in a box. We build the box around you and we leave a door that you can escape from if you need to add on or if you need to change. So everyone says this, but I don't know if there's many that do it, that say it. We actually take the time to listen to the way you work. Instead of letting you tell us what you need, we listen and try to figure out what you need and take into account what you need. Because sometimes we know technology capabilities a little differently than some others do, or even a business owner. So we're able to hear things just like you do when you're coaching, things that they aren't seeing that right in front of their face.
Yeah. Now you also do some marketing services, right?
We sure do. Recently, in the last 10 years or so, we've gone into digital marketing, which has proven to be a nice sector of business. And because now we're able to not only build the products for you, we're able to showcase the products for you. So we can help share it with the world. We can market it through social media, through blogs, through advertising. We have the creative, we have the writers. We have that all in-house. The nice thing about us is I always understood that car companies like to control the vertical. That's why they want subscriptions. That's why they want to control everything that they're building in their line. And here at Webfitters, in our small way, we control our vertical. We have our own designers. We have our own servers that we lease only our clients on our servers. We have our own developers. We have our own marketers, writers. It's all in-house. It's all one step. So something will go wrong if you're working involved with technology. But it's nice to know you only have to make one call. You don't, this person's not going to be blaming the other person, or you're not going over to India, or you're not going, someone that doesn't know what's going on. It's our company. We know what's going on. So.
And what niches do you seem to gravitate towards?
It ebbs and flows. It's weird how it happens. For a long time, I ended up in the real estate apartment world. I don't know how. It just kind of calls just came into that. Then through some alliances that I have, we got heavy into the boating industry, recreational boating, and that was it's still a niche. And then we get into, now we're specializing. We selectively, we try to focus on manufacturing, financial, and medical. Those are the fields that we try to focus on. That's where we have the most experience in. But I mean, as you know, the companies that you work with, there's so many different companies. We're working with this guy that invented a hitch carrier. Whoever thought anyone would need a hitch carrier? It's wildly successful. It's
cool. That's cool. Yeah, well, everybody needs a website and needs digital marketing, right? So
they do, and it's nice that the team's in one house, so that the marketing team can go to developers, say, "Hey, we need to do this, this, and that," and it gets done. Not from like one company emailing another company and then egos get involved and she,
Okay. So next question, tell us a story where someone pushed or inspired you that you could do it and the impact that it had. Can you think back to a time that happened?
Oh, again, it's like my family stories. It happens so often. I'm really, really fortunate. But you got to look for it. If you're not looking for it, you're not going to see it. But, right now I'm listening to Tony Robbins. I mean, as corny as that sounds, there's some good stuff in there.
Absolutely.
I look at other businesses that we work with and how they run, and some of them, it's funny. I'm sure you see this as well in your coaching. If they're able to run in this much dysfunction, there's a lot of hope for me. But I speak to people like yourself. You're a great help to me. I speak to family members. All my uncles were all entrepreneurs in different fashion, sets. But I find inspiration and I get pushed in a lot of ways by just everyday life.
Like you said, you have to be looking for it, right?
You do. There's something, whatever it's called. It's, if you're looking for the color blue, you're going to see the color blue. That's one of Tony Robbins' favorite things. But yeah, you got to be looking for it.
What's been your biggest learning as a business owner?
One of the hardest things to wrap my head around is being a boss.
Mhm.
For me, that's the hardest thing. I'm a
Is
fairly
it
nice guy.
the pressure of having mouths to feed, so to speak, or?
It is a little bit of that. Um, you have to make the monthly, you have to do this, you have to do the right benefits, you have to be the social worker and all this. But it's hard for me to put myself in my employees' shoes and other people that are dealing with me, how they're looking at me as a business owner and as a boss. Because in my eyes, I'm John, right?
Mhm.
This is what I
Mhm.
do. I mean, anyone can do what I can do, I believe. If they want to bad enough, they can do it.
Mhm.
So you have to, I'm learning this in the last like 6 months, even though you're not comfortable with people putting you on a shelf or putting you in a pigeonhole, you have to let it be done. Because if you don't, you're doing everyone a disfavor.
Mhm.
It's similar to when people want to help you, right?
Mhm.
As a normal, modest guy, I'm like, no, I'll take care of it and take care of myself. I learned a couple years back that people want to help. So even though it might be a greater distraction for me to let them help, I now let them help.
Mhm.
It's better for them.
You got to learn to do that, didn't you?
Yeah. And took a while.
All right. What's been your biggest challenge during the years, and who helped you get through it, or how'd you get through it?
Well, my biggest challenge has always been the numbers. Um, I've never been good with numbers. I never cared about numbers. I always had the impression, well, I need money. Well, I'll just go make more.
Mhm.
It doesn't always work. My biggest challenge is keeping track of where the money's going, keeping track of when to lay people off if you have to, or when to add people on. I've got myself in trouble so many times. I'm just digging myself out again for not letting people go quick enough when the money wasn't there.
Mhm.
I always tried to hire ahead of the work,
Mhm.
which will suck you dry.
Mhm.
It's a feeling of comfort, but it's not sustainable to do that. Even though you like these people, they're family to you, or you feel like this job is going to come in, so I got to get 2 more developers, so I'm hiring them right now. You can't work that way. And when you do that, I got myself in trouble because then you can't meet your other responsibilities. And my inability to not want to know or have the talent at the time to understand numbers and reports, you don't forecast that. I have no business experience. I have no business training except what I'm fortunate enough to learn from you and my accountant and other people that have been around. But that is and was my hardest challenge. And I hate the numbers. Just let me run it. Just let me sell deals. Let me, figure out
Deliver.
problems, how the
Mhm.
software is going to work. I
Okay.
just hate it.
All right. If you had to pick a few people in your business owner journey that you're most grateful for being there, anybody you want to shout out?
Yeah. I had it written down. Oh, yeah. So there's several people I want to shout out. So of course my wife Dawn.
Mhm.
Can you imagine being my wife, having an idiot like me just say, "Hey, I'm not doing this anymore. I'm going to go do something else,"
Mhm.
making maybe $800 a month, if less, saying I'm just going to do that.
And
And
she
she
stood
said,
behind you.
"Yeah." She said, "Okay, what do you want to do?" And then a shout out to Bill and Bob Dice, my graphic designer friends I grew up with. And
Mhm.
then I was fortunate enough to grow up with other professionals in the area. They really welcomed me, photographers, agency owners. My first gigs were mostly agencies. Other advertising agencies hired me to do the work. So Mike Rohner, Dave Gagnon at Redfish Creative, many other friends that all helped me. They all deserve shout-outs.
Yeah. All right. Thank you. What's the next big thing for you in your business?
Well, right now I'm trying to obviously grow it. You grow it in different ways. So right now I'm focused on beefing out my sales team and sales leads. We're doing that. So I still have my plan that I spoke of when you and I were talking more often. I still want to get reps and project managers in bigger markets and then have the work fulfillment right here. In the meantime, though, I started some side gigs. So I got 3 different side businesses that I'm going into.
Okay.
One, I'm doing super small websites for really small shops, super small shops. They can't afford professional help, but they need professional help. So I partnered up and I got some packages that are really affordable for them. I also have restaurant ordering apps where instead of paying the high fees for like DoorDash or all those, you can have your own cheap. And if people order, it dings in the kitchen, tells it, you can tell them your food's ready to pick up. I got that. I also, with me and my friend Dave, we're a separate company. We're doing CRMs and products for small boat manufacturers.
Oh.
So a lot of small boat manufacturers, we found it's the stuff that they use does not work because we were tasked with trying to integrate it into websites and all this stuff. Does not work. So we started a business. I think we're going to name it. What is that? Odd Orbit.
Okay.
Anyway, that's a fun name. But anyway, it's products specifically for boat manufacturing. So first part is a CRM that takes in leads, mass emailing, autoresponders, lead nurturing, all that kind of stuff. Then we also have media libraries. Then we also have plugins specific for the boat industries that we're going to build. And then what was the third one? I forgot what the third one was.
Well, the small websites, the restaurant DoorDash type app, and then the CRM for boats.
Oh yeah, then we're also building a SaaS system that protects spam in forms. So right now it's hideously expensive if you use any of the mainstream spam protection for your forms on your websites. It doesn't sound expensive. It's 1 cent per call. But so every time that form hits, it's 1 cent. We can do it for half of that and make a killing and still deliver a good service. So we built our own AI system. It's trained right now. We got computers lined up to run it. So that's just going to be a subscription model that we're setting up for that. So I'm trying to still grow this, but I'm also satisfying my little bit of entrepreneur.
I'm just going to say, you're an entrepreneur, right? You want to keep trying new things and growing different things. You're doing it.
I do, and I haven't done it in a while.
Okay, so you're scratching that itch.
Yeah. Yeah, like you, my kids are grown. I got time. I have connections. Thankfully, I can do this stuff.
All right, last question. What advice do you have for business owners who are trying to do it on their own?
The sun will come up tomorrow. It will always come up tomorrow. So today it might look like you're going to be slaughtered, or today it might look like you can do no wrong. It's going to be different tomorrow. You just keep going.
Just keep going. All right, awesome. Well, thanks. That wraps up our today's interview with John Walczyk of Webfitters. Thanks for your time, John.
Thank you, Corey. This was great.